Jim, you come out of the East. Your university's on the East. Give us just a flavor of that, and because you're into the startup, emerging company business, if you will, from an investment standpoint, how important is STEM or the students or the entrepreneurs that are looking for money for you?
Well, I do come from the East. I come from a little school in New Haven called Yale, and we like research too. What's interesting about being an investor in these kinds of businesses is that we're looking for both entrepreneurship, which is an approach to life and business, but we're interested in technologies, which means we are ultimately focused on activities that the rubric would be STEM. If you don't know math or engineering or basic science, you're not going to be able to design a new product or a new software or conceive of a methodology that can create a business. So it's critical for us too. And since we evaluate management capability as the very first and most important characteristic of any new company, understanding what their capabilities are in these disciplines is critical to our evaluation and the success of the business.
When we talk about the entrepreneur and application business plan, we'll touch on the education side a bit as well as we get to that topic. But let me turn, keeping with you, Jim, let me turn to the investment climate in Arizona. One could say overall, nationally, it seems like we got some upticks in certain regions, which is a good thing. But here in Arizona, recently in the Phoenix Business Journal, there was an article that indicated that February, March, several Arizona companies saw venture funding totaling $141 million in VC deals. Typically, you get a lot of advertisement on the angel side and very little on the VC side. So does that mean venture capital is beginning to see the Valley of the Sun as a place to place money?
Yeah, the issue is one of efficiency overlaying real capability. And we have venture-funded businesses scattered throughout Arizona, both here and in Tucson. There aren't a great number of them, and part of that's due ultimately to the fact that most venture money doesn't exist here. It comes from somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So that person who may be sitting in the Bay Area or in Boston or in Texas has to get on an airplane to come here, in comparison to hopping in the car and driving over to all the other companies that they invest in. So it simply raises the bar here, which means that the companies that get VC funding here are pretty good companies. We have them. We want to nurture them. The investments that we make, some of them are going to need substantially more money than angels can provide, and we want them to be venture ready and attractive to venture capitalists, whether they end up being located here or located somewhere else.
Well, interesting point you made. I was fortunate to be, well, it depends on what side of the coin you look at, but I was fortunate to be in the .com era, and I was out of Colorado Springs. We were a technology firm. President of the company, my job was to go look for money, and at the time in Southern California, I thought I had a lot of connections in the money world, and what I got was the same conversation you just gave. Why would I get on a plane and go invest in your firm in Colorado Springs when here in Southern California we have a lot of entrepreneurs, very creative, that we could invest, get into the car and drive an hour or whatever. So it was interesting that story resonated back in the .com era as it resonates now. I mean, that hasn't changed. The other is recently a group of Arizona State alumni established an angel group. It's called Biltmore Angel. Tell us about that, whatever you know, because I know you collaborate with the Desert Angels and you collaborate with Tech Coast Angels as well, and maybe other groups. So tell us about the collaboration.
Well, the interesting thing about what Biltmore is doing is it's a group of people who believe they have contacts and connections with people who are not already investing in our space. So we're in this unique position of not really seeing things as competitors, but being really potential allies. If they can find and recruit members who otherwise would be outside of the domain here to invest, we would look at them as natural partners in a deal. So we encourage groups to form, recognizing that it's, frankly, there's an effort to do it, but wherever we can find investors, we see potential collaborators. So any group that does that is a good thing. So we do that with, as you mentioned, Desert Angels in Tucson. We do it with New Mexico Angels. We do it with Tech Coast Angels, and now with a group called Maverick Angels. It's based in Thousand Oaks, California, but has a guy in town for a few years.
Okay. Two programs, I think, your group is responsible for. One is Sidecar. From what I understand, it's a source of capital that rides along angel investments. So explain a little further what that means and how that operates.
One of the reasons people choose to be angels is not only to invest money, but they can become involved in the companies that they're investing in. So they can use their brains, their energy, their excitement, their knowledge, their contacts to the betterment of the company. That happens in little businesses. Well, that's active investing. Some people want to be more passive about it. And so a sidecar fund, which is a passive way to invest in the same companies, is good for them. The other important element of doing what we do is these are all high-risk businesses. You don't know whether they're going to succeed. And you certainly don't know which are the ones that are going to succeed and which are going to fail. So the way to manage that is to have a lot of investments. Well, a sidecar fund enables an investor to get little bits of a bunch of companies. So we launched the sidecar fund on December 29th, and already we've invested in 5 companies. So that means an investor in the fund has a little bit of 5 different companies to see which works and which doesn't. And we'll do some more before the fund is fully used up.
That's interesting. So if I were to interpret that further mitigates the risk for the sidecar investors. That's excellent. I mean, so if you got a little money laying around, rather than putting it in a CD or somewhere else, I mean, not that high net worth guys are going to put it in CDs, but that's an interesting way of mitigating risk. The other program is the Angel Investor Boot Camp. We know that land is great here in Arizona, and there's a lot of folks in the land. And it sounds like you want to take a little bit of those individuals and put them into startups, high technology startups. So you're doing what in that area?
There are now a wide array of programs